everybody. Welcome back to Fandom Entanglement Sliders. We are talking about Season 1, Episode 7 or 6, depending on which order you're watching them in. It is called Eggheads. I am Damon. This is my co-host, Mike.
Howdy.
And joining us is our special guest, Aaron Moss. Welcome, Aaron.
Damon, Mike, how you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing good. As we said off mic, we're pretty tired because we're parents of young ones. But we're doing good. So tell us about the stuff you do, Aaron.
I do too many podcasts. Well, you know me from me and the wife, the wife and I do a quantum leap podcast called the Starbright Project.
Right.
Where it was started off with me, her, and a friend of ours from Australia, Hayden, watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Hayden's both seen it a million times, and it was my wife's first time. So she's doing a watch through, giving her thoughts on it. And then NBC gave us a 6th season, as I refer to it, and the new show. So we kind of had a hold on the main show, and all three of us watched the new show, brand new, and started recording about that. And then we got delayed. My daughter's in band, so we've got to put things on hold for right now. But working and trying to figure out what the wife wants to do, because she likes the new show, but she wasn't super happy with it overall.
I see it. I can see it.
I enjoyed it. I went to
yeah, me too. Yeah.
So we're trying to decide we're going to go back to the old shows or stick with the new one for right now. So we're in a little bit of a flux right now. We also just finished up VoyagersCast, looking at the TV show Voyagers from 1982. Another time travel show. Again, you see where my heart lies. And I got my other shows. I got my main show is Head Speaks, where I talk about comic books and movies, TV shows, anything geeky. And my other main show is G.I. Joe, Real American Headcast, where I look at the G.I. Joe cartoon and comics from the late 80s, early 90s, and everything G.I. Joe related. So,
my thing was, my thing was Masters of the Universe. I was never into G.I. Joe, unfortunately, but
I like Masters.
It's cool. Yeah. That was my thing. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, well, that's great. We're glad to have you on, and I know you had said, "Oh yeah, you like sliders. I like sliders," and I'll get you on for something.
Definitely,
yeah.
You watched the first.
Hopefully, this is an episode that I didn't know how you felt about this episode when I asked you, but I was like, well, it's open.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Just for spoilers. I personally, I liked most of the show. The first 2 seasons was fantastic. 3 started to slide off a little bit, and then 4 was okay. It was sliders. I mean,
yeah. That was going to be my question. It was, what was your exposure to sliders? You were into it from the beginning, basically, or?
Yeah, I watched it when it first came out on TV, and I've watched it a couple different, on Sci-Fi and a few other places. So, I really enjoyed the first couple of seasons a whole lot, and then the rest of the seasons, was it 4 or 5? I forget now.
When it went to Sci-Fi.
What's that?
When it went to Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
The last 2 seasons. Yeah.
So I enjoyed what came the last couple of seasons, but it just wasn't the same.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, overall, I really liked it, the show in general. So.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, we'll get there. I know it has its downs and highs, and then it goes
downs.
down again, and hopefully we'll stick with it. All right, so let's get going. This originally aired April 26th, 1995, as EarthPrime.com. The synopsis, as they say, while Quinn struggles with fame in a world where an intellect is prized, Arturo tries for a reconciliation with a long-lost love. We have our usual cast: Jerry O'Connell as Quinn, Sabrina Lloyd as Wade, Clevant Derricks as Rembrandt, and John Rhys Davies as Arturo. Our main guest stars are Charles Cyphers as Coach Almquist, Peter Spellos as Joey Fountain. They did say Fountain, right? That was what it was? Okay, Joey Fountain. And Gabrielle Rose as Christina Fox Arturo. And there's a few other people there. I guess we'll just bring them up as as they come up in the plot.
Sure.
Our teleplay is the story is by Scott Smith Miller and Jacob Epstein. Probably Epstein. From a teleplay by Scott Smith Miller, directed by Timothy Bond, and we only visit the one world which EarthPrime.com has dubbed Einstein World. So, okay, so Aaron, your first impressions going in, what you thought about this episode?
Like I say, the first couple of seasons I really like. So yeah, this episode, I remember. I couldn't remember what at first. I vaguely remembered it, but then when I watched it, I'm like, oh no, okay, yeah, this was one of the good ones. And much like I've talked about on the Quantum Leap show, I really liked episodes that deal with, I say, Quantum Leap with Sam and or Al's personal life. Same way here, like we find a little more about Arturo and his past, and so that's one thing that I think that's why this is one of my favorite episodes of the show.
Okay.
We find out a little more about Arturo and his pre-Slayer's life, if you will.
Okay. All right, Mike.
Nice. Well, this is the first time I've watched an episode 3 times before doing the review. Partly because I had more time this time with delays by certain hurricanes, but
right,
impacting poor Damon's life.
I know.
But also, I don't really recall it from the original run, but it's my favorite episode so far in season 1. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I really dig this episode.
Okay. It's it's weird. I think I love every episode from season 1, so I don't really hate anything. I feel like it's one of my least favorites from the season. Maybe just because it's so weird. I don't know. It's kind of. I mean, I like it. I don't know. I think after watching it again, I'm kind of liking it a little bit better. But I remember it being kind of like the oddball of the season. It was a little hard to. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but that was kind of where I was going with it. It was it had some humorous moments, but it was also a little hard to follow some of it. Well, I don't know. I guess we'll get into it a little bit.
Yeah, let's do.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, the working title supposedly was just Genius. That was, I guess, when it was first in production. Again, I get some of those little tidbits from EarthPrime.com. But yeah, so they were on this world for a little more than 5 days this time. They noticed the longer library hours, and I did kind of laugh at that because I work at a library. That's my day job, so I'm like, oh, okay.
I've always been a big fan of libraries myself, so
yeah.
I like the world with longer. I mean, yes, right on.
Yeah.
That's my world.
I know. Well, we're at a point too where it's we have to sometimes we got to kick people out. I'm like, okay, we have families to go home to. We have to cut off our services. You're hanging out, you're holding some of this at work say you're holding us hostage. If you're sitting there at your thing, I'm like, it's time to go. That random long-haired dude is playing Tchaikovsky on the boombox, and Rembrandt notices that because he's really in on his music. So I'm like,
yeah,
I guess you kind of have to be if you're into. Didn't he say something you knows, you got to know be up on all the
masters?
Well, he said, I do all the long-haireds.
Right.
I think that's what he said, yeah.
Yeah, and I like all the little things the bus stop thing says has Einstein wore khakis with the Gap sign and
of the cap.
It was the cap.
The cap, yeah.
It was the cap. Okay, see, I missed that completely. Okay,
I had to look the second time I watched, but yeah, the cap.
I was wondering about that because when they showed the Nike logo with Quinn.
Yeah,
there was the extra K in Nike.
Yeah. That I know.
And the swoop is backwards.
Later on, there was the Wheaties box. They misspelled Wheaties.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that's a copyright thing or
totally.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, is there a reason that they got an extra K in Nike? Because I didn't notice the cap, but I noticed the Nike.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Is there a reason that they misspelled Nike? Does that mean something?
I don't know.
And then later on, I noticed that the Wheaties. I'm like, oh, you know what? I bet it's just a copyright.
Yeah,
I guess
they don't
so.
Get sued or,
Yeah, the cap thing though, that's got to be the whole that has to be. That can't just be there has to be a reason for that. That's a good catch. I saw you say that in notes. I'm like, what do you, the cap? I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. And that's when Wade looks up and sees Quinn. That's like really like a pretty famous shot there. Just think it.
Yeah.
That's like the one, and the kid named Sigmund is asking both of them, Quinn and Arturo, for their autographs because they're the Sliders. I'm like, what? The Sliders?
Interesting tidbit about the actor who played Sigmund. His name is Blair Slater, and he went on to play young Truman in the Truman Show.
Okay.
And he didn't have much of an acting career beyond that. He was in an X-Files episode before this episode of Sliders, but it looked like he did some child acting gigs and gave up. But when I saw his face, it was bothering me. I said, I know that kid's face from somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't think he's credited in it either. So
no, he's uncredited.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, thanks to IMDb.
Okay. Quinn says we're going home.
Yeah, just the way he goes, we're going home in the taxi. I just felt like it really set the excitement for this episode. Yeah. It's like there's a potential they might get back home.
Yeah, well, he figures if they're sliders, then they might have a sliding machine in the basement this time.
So quick question. Was I the only one disappointed that they didn't show that the cab driver was the Russian guy from the previous episodes?
Yes. I had the exact same thought.
Yeah, I know. Because he does show up, I think, at least one more time, I think.
Yeah, he shows up a couple of times. And I said, it's been a while since I've watched the series. But I do remember when they got in, I'm like, oh, is it going to be there? Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. Yeah. It's like, it's not him. It's not Pavel.
I said that to Leanne when we watched it.
Oh, okay.
They should have had the recurring cab driver here.
Yeah, especially because like at this point they were really trying to get all those recurring characters as often as they could. It didn't work out all the time, but yeah, that real estate agent was all over Arturo. He's just like all over him, and he says bizarre to the point of lunacy.
Something I noticed though is the house exterior is different from the other episodes, but the interior is the same.
It did look different on the outside.
Could they just not get the same house for this particular episode? I thought it was odd.
I feel like at some point they might have, the set might have been a little bit different, but for outside, because I know that they changed the location of where they were shooting, I think, but I think it was still the same for.
It was still Vancouver in season 1, yeah.
Although maybe it was different in the pilot, maybe. Sometimes the pilot's different.
Sure. Yeah, the pilot was definitely the house with the gate. This house did not have a gate.
You're right, it didn't. Yeah. That gate is really important, too.
It is. Yes.
It's supposed to be really important.
Yes.
And we said Quinn was on the Wheaties box, the Breakfast of Geniuses.
Yes.
I don't know how I felt about that line that Wade was saying. I know it's supposed to be a joke because Rembrandt's like, if you've got all these endorsements, how come you're so broke? She's like, it's like, how come you're always asking stupid questions? Like, I mean, it's funny, but that's not really nice. I mean, it's like, he's not always asking stupid questions. It just seems like you're just saying that now. I don't know.
Well, then she did revisit that later on when he was betting on the he knows nothing about.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Idiots.
Yeah,
that was funny. That's probably the funniest part of that episode. I just remember just.
Yeah, so I want that earlier line in there to kind of tie it back when she calls him an idiot later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. No sliding machine in the basement, but he's got tons of awards. I had to do like a little, freeze frame. All-American Academic Excellence, Most Valuable Player for the California High School Academic Championship, TV Physicist of the Year. So I'm wondering what that was about. And he's part of the Dream Team on the cover of Popular Sports. Is that a real magazine? I feel it is. I don't know.
I think it's their fake version of Sports Illustrated.
Is it Popular Mechanics? I don't know.
There's also Popular Mechanics, yeah.
Okay. It seemed like it looked familiar, but I don't know. But I did notice
in The Weaker Sex, wasn't it Popular Sports was the swimsuit edition that Rembrandt picked up?
No, I think that was it was something else. It wasn't Oh, I don't remember what it is now. I don't think it was the same thing. Yeah, it wasn't the same. It was kind of a blink and miss. If you notice, there was a magazine called Gray Matter, I think, that Rembrandt was holding. I was like, did I see that right? It's Gray Matter. Okay.
Nice. Good catch.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned all those awards, so maybe the Americans here can help me out, being a Canadian. What does the term All-American mean?
I'm not really sure what it's supposed to mean other than just saying that we're American. I don't know.
Well, usually it's used like in football,
Yeah.
baseball, and it just All-American is just a term they use to say that someone's really good at their sport.
Okay.
All right, because everything's great in America. Yeah. So, right? Yeah, that's why.
Yes. Yeah, just
we're the best.
Oh yeah, obviously, right.
Yeah, I think that's what that means. It's a little bit of a whatever.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was my guess by that. Yeah, and then Arturo is kind of making that suggestion about we either avoid contact or assume the identities of their doubles to try to find the sliding machine. He told Quinn it's kind of up to him. And then they go to the university. That's where we see William B. Davis as Professor Myman.
Yep.
There's our X-Files connection. I'm like, oh, it's the cigarette smoking guy.
Yeah.
I was really expecting him to just suddenly, like, after he left, because he had that look on his face. After he left, I thought he was going to get on the phone with somebody and say something and light up that cigar.
That'd be nice.
Was this before X-Files?
No, X-Files started in 93.
Okay.
I want to say. So I'll bet the cameo appearance is because they're both shows on Fox and both being filmed in Vancouver.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah. That had to be boosting Arturo's ego, and he's called him. He's like, "You're the chairman." He's like, you saw that look on his face, like,
yes. Well, yeah. It's a troll for you.
Yeah. And I noticed all the Easter eggs there with the poster, him lecturing live in the Mirage Hotel. That it was hard to see in standard definition. I think that behind the desk it said the Algebraic Variations Tour. I think
okay.
he was on, because that's when he was calling. I guess because they had to call. I guess that's when he got the call from his soon to be ex-wife. I think.
Right.
Yeah, he called his house. And then.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, the
woman
woman answered.
The woman answered.
Yeah.
He goes, let's get out of here. And they just start running away.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they're watching that music video. That is what I remember most from this is the library rap by MC Poindexter and the Study Crew.
Yo, Holmes, what up? What up with you? What we gonna say? What we gonna do? Where we gonna go? What we gonna see?
We're going to the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so cheesy, but it's brilliant. I'm not gonna read through all those lyrics, but some of those lyrics are just hysterical. The thing with she checks us out from behind thick glasses. We walk right past and wiggle our asses.
Yeah.
It's very like I don't know. I was thinking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when I saw that. It seemed like really kind of corny, I guess.
Yeah.
That
it works so well. I could never enjoy that rap video enough because it's just pure comedy gold.
Yeah, it's like the pilot when they did the. Remember I said it too. He was watching, I think, like a music video on Communist World.
Yep.
And it was the same thing. It's like, is this for real? He's like, no, this is like public television or something like that. And
yes, yeah.
And it was like, again, that whole like, it's still that American culture. It's a little weird if you think about it. I'm not like in this kind of intellectual society, would they really have like rap music? I mean, I guess they could, but I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things that seems like so. I don't know. It was just weird because he's rapping all the things like all the names like Lawrence, Chekhov, Miller. I'll give you one warning: there will be no repeats. Get out of my face while I'm reading my Keats.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the mid '90s. They had to get rap into it. Just like, Quantum Leap. Al had his little rap.
That's true.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
rap was becoming a little more mainstream, and
Mm-hmm.
again, at the time I was big into rap, still am, but I'm big, old school rap. So yeah, I chuckled at that.
Yeah. And they're watching that, and Quinn's reading it, the Mind Game rule book, because that's what he's known for, is mind game. Stephen Hawking wrote it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the shot of Wade in the opening credits where she's on the couch, like with the popcorn.
Yeah, with the popcorn. Yes. Yeah. I caught that right away this time.
Yeah. And they're watching the whole thing. So I guess that's the one thing that also stands out for me, is the way the whole episode was shot to resemble like a sporting event, and they have like the whole play-by-play going on, and this is where they had those what did I say there at the beginning? They were like special guests in the episode, special guest appearances by Tom Jackson as the color commentator and Ron Pitts as the play-by-play announcer, because they're real. Isn't Tom Jackson like a football player or something? Was he?
Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
sure.
Something?
so in my research, they really did sell the sportscasting here.
Right.
Like, they sounded exactly like sportscasters, and I wondered if they were cameo appearances or not. So it turns out that they used their real names in this episode, both of them.
Right.
Ron Pitts has only ever played announcers or reporters, 15 credits to his name. And Tom Jackson appeared on Sunday NFL Countdown 5 times, apparently, in Sports Center 2 times, and in a couple episodes of Coach. So I'm not sure if they were like athletes in their real life. I didn't get that far into their histories, but they definitely, have the pigeonholed role of sports readers or color commentators in their in their credits.
I did look him up. Tom Jackson was he was an American sports commentator, former professional football player.
There you go.
So he was, right? Yeah. Because I'm not really into sports, so that could be another reason why maybe this episode didn't click for me exactly, because I'm not a big sports person, and this, one of my issues with this was that it was, I might be skipping ahead a little bit, but I think my issue with this was like it seems not like it's celebrating intellectualism as it's like a merging of it's still athletic.
Yes.
So it's like
I had that same note.
Yeah.
I'm like, would people, intelligent people, and not that there's wrong with sports, but
right,
a society that reveres intellect so much have such a physical sport for their and I understand it's there for the drama and all that, but
right.
I thought that was a little off, if you will.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying right here in my notes. That's kind of like my big thing, because it still involves a lot of like science-y questions and answers and stuff, but it's not really a mind game. I know there's like some strategy involved, but it's like this hybrid between traditional physical. Yeah. It's kind of like basketball or something. That's what it felt like, and then it's like a quiz at the same time. So it's like I feel like it's even more work, because they have to. Maybe that's the mentality behind it, is that they have to concentrate while they're doing all this, I guess.
Yes.
No,
they have to answer these difficult trivia questions while they are also in the midst of working as a team to capture squares. I buy it. Totally.
I guess. All right. And you have the same note, Mike, because I said the opening play was very reminiscent of Family Feud.
Yeah, it was just like the top 10 answers or top 3 answers are on the board. We surveyed, I think they said 100 scientists, but just
something like that.
Like they go from Family Feud and then into like a physical ball and pegging sport, and then an Othello/Go, as Quinn says, aspect of taking the square. So like it's like we're in this world where they revere intellect, as you said, but what they've done is they've made a game so complicated you have to be highly intellectual to really really get it, right? Which is funny later when they're watching it in the bar and like Wade is caught on, but Rembrandt's like
I don't know,
he's pretty clueless. That I was just laughing at that. I found that so funny. It was like we'll skip ahead a little bit. It just reminded me a little of she's explaining the whole thing to him. He's like, I don't get it. How can he win? Blah, 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 blah. He's like, they're never going to get in there. And it reminded me of one of those moments where it's like somebody's like, oh yeah, obviously that's what it means, and they're just like going about their business. Like, I have no idea what you just said, but okay, I'll agree with you. It goes over the dumb person's head, basically. Yeah, that's where we discovered that Arturo was being sued for divorce by his late wife Christina. He's late on his world, so they were married for a few years before she died of a brain aneurysm at 27, and one of the great love of Arturo's life. And
like Aaron said earlier, that's part of what I really like about this episode is we get some depth into Arturo's character. And we're starting to care for this main cast, which is what you need in a show. You need to care about the people in it.
Yeah.
I think it humanizes, because again, he's always come off just the professor that, he kind of always disappointed everybody. No one's as smart as he is. And this kind of humanizes him a little bit and shows that he's not just this super intelligent professor that looks down on everybody. He's actually had a life and had believed and loved and all that.
Yeah. I think I said it later on too. It was just like, even when he talks about oh, you're a smart, like he's trying to tell his double about how you're a much smarter man. Right. It's like, you can tell it's not coming from it. Usually he says things like that and it comes like from a place of like very egotistical, like it's like he means it, like you should be smarter than this. So the way you treated her, but that whole scene too where they're talking, it's funny because like the whole time Arturo is just there on one side drowning his sorrows while they're going on about this, so it's just like the way they acted that out. And that's where we get into like, like you bet on a game you didn't understand. You're an idiot. He's like, you bet against Quinn. Like, come on, Remy. And that's like all the money too. He's like, how much money did you bet? All of it. Like, really? Come on. Remy should be a little smarter than this by now, I would think. I don't know. That's part of the humor, right? Yeah. And then the one, either whatever, Ron Pitts or one of them said, it ain't over until the fat lady closes the book. Like, oh man, that's funny. And then that Lobster shows up and he's using all those really smart words.
I'm not sure if he was doing it to sound smart or if he actually is highly intelligent, but still morally corrupt.
Right.
As per Arturo's line later.
On this world, I assume he's really smart and morally corrupt.
I maybe this is the Mandela effect. I really thought those FBI agents were the same ones from Summer of Love. I thought they were recurring characters that we saw in season 1. It's different. I must have just been thinking of Summer of Love, or maybe in another universe. Like I said, it was the Mandela effect, so maybe something changed somewhere.
All FBI agents look alike. Oh boy, they all look alike. Seen one, seen them all.
Yeah. But I think that's what I do like that though. Like the best part of the episode is getting into Arturo's character. So. Yeah, that's like I said. Like he says, I inhabit a world that all too often seems to despise intellect. I mean, that did seem like kind of like an odd thing. Maybe back in the 90s, I made a note of it that is that really the case anymore? But then again, we have a lot of stupidity going on in this world. So there's a lot of people out here who are educated who are not that educated.
I think back, especially back in the 80s and 90s, the intelligence wasn't. They looked more to sports figures and things like that. It wasn't. Intelligence wasn't something they really looked too much at. So
right. Well, they certainly do in this world, because that final game is being broadcast by satellite to 123 countries around the globe, which is just such a 90s statement of popularity.
That's right. Yeah.
And then they get into the game. I like how Quinn answers multiple dimensions to the opening question, and then they specifically comment that Mallory didn't look convinced that it should have been second to infinite density. It's like very nice nod to the premise of the show.
Yeah, because he kind of knows that's not the case. Yeah.
Yeah. Firsthand.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know this.
Yeah. Well, we didn't. It's not here in the notes, but they basically, I think, deduced that that it was probably a hoax. Well, what do you guys think? Do you think it was a hoax? Do you think they actually did figure out how to slide and they went into hiding, or that it was a hoax?
Arturo said they're probably such scallywags or something to that effect.
Something like that.
I agree with Arturo. I think they faked it.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah.
I don't doubt that they were working on it, but
seeing the fact they couldn't find anything, they couldn't find any reference to it anywhere, they couldn't find any, any of the technology or anything. And seeing how, they were both, Arturo was, had a million women apparently, and Quinn was on the run from the mob.
Yeah.
I think they used that as an excuse or as a pretense or whatever to take off.
That just reminded me when he's talking to his secretary asking for the plans for the sliding machine.
Right.
She says, "Oh, you never gave me those. They're on your computer at home." How convenient.
That's right. That's right.
So nobody's ever seen these plans except you and Quinn. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think they did fake it.
Okay. Yeah, because that kind of brings up. I think I was just thinking about it too. Like, if they keep running into worlds where you think that their doubles might have slid, or shouldn't we get more of these like instances where we meet these other doubles who have slid? Too?
Right.
Like, yeah. I know there's like an infinite number of universes out there, but you'd think that they would all meet up with each other at some point. I don't know.
Well, that and the fact that, it seems like no one really knows anything about it, because jumping to the very end when they actually slid out, the FBI and the mobsters were like, what the hell? They seem confused on the whole sliding. So, that also leads me to believe that, it was just all BS and he was hiding out somewhere, hiding from the mob. And Arturo shacked up somewhere with his
mistress.
Oh, yeah. I know I'm getting back to that with Arturo. I did really like that about him. Like, because it did feel sincere with him. He's like, you could tell he's treading really carefully. He's just like trying not to say the wrong thing because he really loved this woman. And he's like, oh, I must have hurt you so badly, and I'm sorry for everything I caused you. So it was a really nice moment, I think, and I do like that he tried to, at the end, record that message for himself, basically telling him, you are a fool. You may be brilliant, but you are a fool. And don't explaining the whole situation on my world. She died. I lost her. You don't know what you have. You're a far more intelligent man than that. You shouldn't. Yeah, whatever it was that he said. I didn't write it all down, but.
See, I thought maybe he was going to tell, when he spoke with her and he told her to wait for him, he'll be back. I thought he was going to tell her that he was a slider and he's not her, Arturo, first. That's what I thought he was going to do.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of wondered why he didn't. He was trying to say, didn't he kind of say something to the effect of, "I'm not your Arturo," or "I'm not him."
Yeah, something along those lines. But he was trying to make us think that he's changed. And I don't know.
Yes.
I was wondering about that at first. Well, why give her false hope?
Yeah.
You're going to be sliding out and maybe never return. And there's no guarantee that the Arturo from that world is going to listen to an alternate and change his ways. So it just be kind of setting her up for failure.
Yeah.
I understand why he did it, but I don't know if it was the right thing for him to do personally. Just because, if he's not going to admit who he is and maybe take her with him, tell him to wait, that, I'm changing, I'm coming, I've got one thing to take care, I'll be back. How do you know that, how do you even know that real Arturo's ever going to come back if he's shacked up somewhere, Yeah.
Right, I know.
So.
Well, he's still got the chairship of the university, so I expect he'll come back to work eventually.
I guess. Do you think this world had a Quinn and a I mean not Quinn. You think it had a Wade and a Rembrandt or?
Good question, because even Sigmund says, "Are you anybody?" And Wade's like,
That's right.
I don't know.
Are you anybody?
Are we?
Are we anybody? I don't know. I forgot about that.
I would assume there's probably a Wade and a Rembrandt that just didn't really amount to anything.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, because there weren't like smart people, I guess. Well, sometimes you wonder that because, I mean, not that you can do that every single episode, but sometimes I'm wondering the circumstances of the alternate history, if they, like, if sometimes they don't exist. Sometimes they literally don't exist. Yeah.
Pure and simple, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm thinking about that too. I usually try to write down what that alternate history is. I don't know if we really got a good explanation where this divergence happened.
No,
right?
Not at all. No.
It's just for whatever reason on this world they revere intelligence.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where that would be at, but
I know I always try to like look at that and figure out, okay, well, you know, if this happened then that happened, but I can't figure out where that would have started. I don't know.
Well, it's potentially it is so far back in history on this world that there wasn't a specific point in time.
Yeah.
They didn't read any history books as far as we know in this one. But
yeah.
Not like the Weaker Sex where Wade was reading about how the women took over.
Yeah, like hundreds of years ago, which was also kind of vague. But
yes,
I don't have much more in the notes beyond that, other than well, you said that, you know, Quinn says slide for your lives.
Slide for your lives.
Slide for your lives. Well, that guy. What's Joey? So we didn't talk about that. It was what was the other athlete's name? The teammate that was basically he was
Wilson.
on the take. Wilson, that was it. Yeah. So he's the one that basically, I guess, let him know he didn't take your threat very seriously, and I guess they wanted him to throw the game, or whatever, and then Quinn just. Now I'm blanking a little bit. So how did they just basically make the decision that, like, well, I'm just gonna win this, or tell the coach that you just gotta.
Well, when the FBI approached him, and they were him, and he's like, you know what do you got on me? You know what? How about I give you bigger fish to fry?
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't get the explanation. Mm-hmm. But that's my son Grayson. But we didn't get the explanation at that point. But we can tell he set up with the FBI guys. Hey, you know, I'll give you the guys that are behind it. And I don't know if that was to let him go or if he was going to turn himself in. I'm assuming more along the line he was going to turn himself in.
Yeah.
And go, you know, but again, he had no intention of doing that. He was. Sorry, give me 1 second. Grayson, put that down and go in the house. I'm busy recording. Leave that. Stop. Drop it. Well, don't drop it. Put it down. Go in the house. I'm busy.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you.
Mwah.
Go.
Bye, Daddy's friends.
But sorry about that.
That's okay.
It's happened to me.
But what was I saying again?
About the FBI agents and.
He made a deal with the FBI agents, I think, to turn himself in and to turn over the bigger guys and get them, you know, caught.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because he knew he planned to meet them on the roof so they could jump off and slide away.
Yeah.
I guess it was just they figured, well, we're involved anyway, so we might as well just, you know, do what's right and just expose the bigger fish, I guess.
Right.
I guess that's what it was. They figured, well, we're already involved because they've been going back and forth about, do we involve ourselves? Do we not? Right. And all this. So
by the time they're involved, he figured, you know, I might as well do something to do some good in this world before we leave and get these mob guys taken to jail.
Yeah. Sure. And the coach wanted to have his big game won. And right. Mm-hmm.
It's funny though, because earlier on, Quinn is concerned about making a fool out of himself on national television, but
Right.
you're leaving in 4 or 5 days. Why do you care? He looks stupid on television.
Still his name.
It's still, yeah.
I
I
guess
know.
it's still his name, but yeah, there's a bit of the, I guess, Quinn's ego showing there that
I guess
he doesn't want to be looked poorly upon in any universe, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but and just the fact that guy Joey just walks right out on that field, like you can't come out here. I mean, that was pretty bold, man. It's
Yes.
That's part of why Quinn decided to go ahead and win the game. Not only to help out the coach, but also I think it was to press Joey's buttons to force him to chase him, so he can credit himself.
Okay, I guess, yeah.
Bring him out of the woodwork.
And lure him to the roof where the FBI
were waiting.
Right.
They could arrest him. They could make their getaway, slide for their lives, as they said.
Yeah.
So, it was all part of Quinn's plan at some point.
Yeah. And those were his final parting words: "Vae Carenis Inundum," which was Latin for "so long, suckers." And just, boom! It just ends like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was. There were a lot of really, I think, good moments in it. As I said, I think after watching this, I think I do enjoy it a little bit better now that I've seen it again, thinking about things a little bit more. I noticed, Mike, you had some goofs too. What was this thing you said?
There's a goof. Yes, I think it's in the first game. They asked him to put the craters on the dark side of the moon. It is the far side of the moon. There is no dark side of the moon.
That would technically. You're right.
Yeah, you'd think a world of intellects would not mess that up in a broadcast of Mind Game. But
you're right.
That's a writer's goof.
Because I think Dark Side of the Moon, I think Pink Floyd, right?
Exactly.
But that's more. And
I think that's how it got into mainstream.
You're right.
Thinking is the dark side of the moon is the side that the Earth doesn't see, but it's the far side of the moon because it gets light too.
You're right. I missed that completely.
Yeah.
Yes, I never realized that. I always heard it called the dark side of the moon.
Yeah.
I never really caught. Yeah, it was
scientifically inaccurate.
Yeah.
As you said, geniuses should have known that.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know if I have anything more to say about the episode. If you guys have some other thoughts, like random things that
do we want to quote the memorable lines? There were some really good ones.
Yeah. Well, we said before, bizarre to the point of lunacy, which is funny. Quinn said, he said, unbelievable. It's like everyone expects me to be Wayne Gretzky, except I don't know how to skate.
Yeah.
And, Wade's line, you bet on a game that you don't understand. You're an idiot. That was
my favorite.
Yeah. And that was a good line Arturo said. Intellectual refinement is one thing. Moral refinement is something different.
Yes.
Not a funny line. That's a good one.
Yeah. I want that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Especially in this day and age. My God, man. This is...
It's very poignant.
Yes.
America. Yeah. I know. God.
Sadly. But...
Try not to be a political show, but like it probably is going to come up at some point. I don't know.
At some point.
Yeah, because the only other thing we got are feedback. So if anything else we want to say about the episode or think about or.
No, it's like I said, one thing I did notate, not necessarily about this episode, but the opening of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I like when it opens up and it shows the multiple worlds.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me very much like the Marvel logo for like their Elseworlds books.
Oh, yeah.
The multiple Earths spinning like that. So I like that. Reminds me of that.
Yeah, well, I think what I always thought of, too, was because you're also, comic book fan, Aaron. I always thought of like Crisis and, with the Infinite Earths and everything with DC.
Yes. So,
yeah, I think they did that pretty much for every season, I think. I mean, they changed the narration up and stuff in the music, but...
I think so, if I remember. It's been a while since I've watched them all, but...
Yeah. All right. So we did get a couple of comments in. Lewis
And this was
Jones.
for the weaker sex, right?
Yeah, for the weaker sex. You want to read them, Mike? You could read them.
Oh,
if you
sure.
Want to. Yeah, you read them.
Well, our new best friend Lewis Jones, who's commenting on all our videos now. This is very nice. Says, awesome review. Interesting to hear how the episode looks today. Good episode. A lot of funny lines. Love that Professor is Wade's slave. Crying face emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good ending.
Yeah.
And Shane Merchant.
Shane Merchant. This is somebody new. Yeah.
Yeah. It says, I've been loving these. Thanks, guys. Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It was my favorite show way back when. Are you talking plebiscite? We had one recently in Australia around same-sex marriage. A referendum is a vote of the Australian people on proposed change to the Australian Constitution, while a plebiscite is a vote on an issue that does not affect the Constitution.
Yeah, I think that's in reference.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was in reference to because they were talking in the last episode about the plebiscite and that's how they made the decision hundreds of years ago.
Yes,
I think we didn't know what that was, the plebiscite. So I guess, thank you for that. Because I wasn't sure if that meant that it somehow was like a legal thing or like how something went into effect. But all right. I know we're a little bit on the shorter side tonight, I think. But I think we said a lot of what we wanted to say about it. I think, right? I guess just our final thoughts. And our ratings. You want to go first, Darren, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is a great episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed most of the episodes, at least from the first two seasons. I'd have to go back and rewatch, but I can't think of a bad episode offhand from the first two seasons. After that, it may be a bit easier to pick them out, but that's another story entirely for down the road, I guess. But but yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed this one, though. I'm glad you guys asked me to come on, especially to talk about this one. It was a good episode.
Yeah.
As far as rating, we do the rating now?
Yeah. You come up with something? Silly object?
I've changed it a couple of times, trying to decide on something, but after our conversation today, I changed it again. I'm going to give it 8 Dark Sides of the Moon.
Oh, okay. That's good. 8 Dark Sides. I was having a hard time coming up with one, too. Well, I'm now I'm wondering if I should put my rating up a bit. I don't know.
It's okay to change your mind.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What did I say last week, Mike? Did I say 6.5 for the?
I think so. Yes.
I didn't have that low, but it just basically, like I said, it was a little hard to follow. Not necessarily one of my favorites because it was just that whole. I think that kind of hung me up a little bit on the intellectual thing with the athletics, like kind of the merging of those. And I was like, is this really how they would praise intellectualism? I guess that's kind of where my issue is. I know, and again, I always try to remember that this is Sliders, and it's supposed to be like this dark, like this black humor. That's not quite, that wouldn't quite jive up with reality, I guess. So I guess I should take that a little more into account. I guess I'll bring it up to 7.5 library rap music videos.
Oh, nice.
Because that was like the best part of it for me. Is just like I just crack up laughing every single time I hear that one.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike.
Well, as I said at the outset, this is now my favorite episode of Sliders so far in season 1. I like I said, I've watched it 3 times, and it keeps getting better each time. I have to give it my first 10, and it'll be 10 Wheaties boxes.
Wheaties with the Weeties.
Yeah, with Quinn on it.
With Quinn, right? Just think it.
No, the Breakfast of Geniuses.
Yeah, the Breakfast of Geniuses. Right. Yeah.
So I it's fantastic in my opinion. I bought it from start to finish. I really got into it. I love the pacing. I love the acting. just the concept of the mind game. I know you said it seems like is that how they celebrate intellectualism, but I'm sure there are other ways that they just didn't show.
Yeah.
This is the one that specifically focused on Quinn's alter ego. So
yeah.
I hope there are more episodes like this in the future.
I'm trying to think if there are. I don't know.
Well, we have different views on it, so
yeah.
We'll find out as we go along. That's why we're doing these.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Aaron, for joining us on this. It's
Having me.
Yeah,
it was great to have you.
I've got some moon. It's nice to come on someone's show and watch a show or something, and then just come on and talk about it. I'm done. I don't have to edit out.
I know.
My thoughts, give some ratings, plug my stuff, and then get the heck out of here.
Yeah. For anybody who maybe hasn't seen anything beyond our sliders thing, we all did the crossover thing for the final Quantum Leap, where it was like 10 of us, and it was like just all of us trying to get in a word in edgewise. There it was like I led the first half, Albie led the second half. So we've kind of done this before. So tell everybody where they can find you, Aaron.
Well, my main website is headspeaks.com. If you go there, you can click. There's a link for my main website, just where I talk about whatever I'm doing. But then there's also my podcasting on there, which is Headcast, the Headcast Network. You also just go to headcast.headspeaks.com directly to go to my website. I'm on Facebook under Headspeaks. I'm on Twitter under Headspeaks, but or Headcast Network, but I don't do as much on there as I probably should. Again, I'm terrible at X and Instagram and all this other stuff, but I've got them, but I don't do very much on there because I do Facebook and then I forget half the time to go, I guess got to do over here and over here. I'm terrible at voting. So, but
yeah, we have our Facebook group. I think other than posting the, these sharing this, I don't really post there either. I'm going to try to get better at it myself too, but
that's what I'm working on, but
yeah. Well, so again, thank you, Aaron, for joining us, and hopefully we could do this again.
Let me know.
Well, you said you like the first 2 seasons, so probably maybe something for season 2. Yeah,
I've loved the first 2 seasons. Like I say, I enjoyed 3 and 4 for what they were. I understand the changes and the behind the scenes that made things necessary, but
yeah, they tried. I think they did. They tried their best once they moved to sci-fi. I that's what I'll always say is I think they tried to get back to their roots.
Yes.
Showrunners change and all this other stuff, but they did what they could.
Yes.
So we'll see when we get to that point.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about any episode. So feel free.
Yeah.
Reach
all
out.
right. So next up we have The King is Back, which is also one of my favorite episodes. I'm looking forward to talking about that one. I think we're supposed to. We'll see when we're going to record that. Hopefully, we're going to be joined by. I think his name's Perry. I don't know what his last name is. Bruns. He works with Amada at the Murder Mystery Company. So he is hopefully going to join us for that, but we have to see what's going on because he also lives here in Florida. Things have been kind of crazy with the hurricane. So we'll see. We might not get to it for like a little bit. I'll be on vacation in 2 weeks. So, but we'll get to that as soon as we can. So I don't know if you want to take us out, Mike, with the
sure
with all the info.
Yeah. Well, all that being said, please be sure to like and subscribe. Share your opinions on the episode in the comments below because we will do a roundup as we did earlier of future videos. And visit our website at fandomentanglement.com for a concise listing of all of our videos and a bit more about us.
Yeah, that's a work in progress too. We got to get our bios up there, and
yes,
yeah, we're like I said, we're too tired dads, so we do what we can. We try to keep up. So bear with us, everybody. We're getting there. So hopefully you all like this review. I'm Damon.
And I'm Mike.
And I'm Aaron.
And we will see you next time, guys. Bye.
Slide for your lives.
Slide for your lives. Bye.
Silence is golden. To books I am beholden. I know I'm bad because of the knowledge that I'm holding. And I give you one warning, there will be no repeats. Get out of my face while I'm reading my keys.